Hello there guys, it's Joey. So with how I'm feeling right now, I decided to do another bit of a slightly lighter video. There's a lot of warrior energies around right now and I could probably rant. So there's so much up in the air at the minute that I thought, you know, if I do a discussion video of any kind, it's going to end up being more ranty than I want it. So we'll do something a little bit more light, a little bit more useful, and something which has brought me some joy over the last few days, which is the Book of Crystal Spells by Ember Grant. So this is going to be a review. We're going to look through it together, we're going to talk about it. I'm going to just talk about my feelings and impressions to start with, then we're going to have a look at some of the pages, what I like about it, things that are a little bit less perhaps about it. Well, before I start, actually, I was trying to think of a way I could talk about the Deviant Grimoire, which I've also been getting into this week. I've bought it on Kindle, as much as I detest Kindle, because of obviously the overseas nature of how long it would take to get a book, and I'm still working through it because there's a lot of information, but it's fantastic. So if you haven't had a look for the Deviant Grimoire, I highly recommend that you do. So that out of the way, we shall have a look at and talk about the Book of Crystal Spells. So the Book of Crystal Spells was actually following me, as in it had a little pair of binoculars, it was outside my door, it was all creepy. I don't know what was going on. It's the creepy, no. As in I was seeing images for it all over the place, and usually that means sit up and pay attention to something. And I was umming and ahhing and umming and ahhing and umming and ahhing about it because on the surface of it, it wasn't a cheap book. I think on Amazon it was $14.99, and I was like, it's a bit much right now. But I have found a seller through Amazon, which is Wordery or something, I can't quite remember, and it was £6, and I was like, oh well, for £6 I can live with it. And because I'm never quite sure about buying books such as this, particularly when they're marketed as spell books, because quite frequently it's the same sort of rehashed information. It's usually very basic, very beginner, and very tailored towards the modern conception of threefold law and love and light and things like that. And whereas I think all of those things have a place, although I could rant about the love and light stuff right now, so I'm not going to. It kind of gets like choking on sugary sweetness when that's all you are given via books. It's like I'm beyond the point where I'm going to swallow that right now, so I need something which piques my interest in a different way, if that makes sense. So I was a little bit hesitant, but I went ahead for £6, and I am pleased. I'm really pleased that I did. I think it's one of the better spell books I have seen in a long time, along with the Deviant Grimoire. So I actually got 2 spell books that were worth having for the last week and a half, which is unusual. Okay, right, I shall position myself to move the book. Right, so the cover art is fairly standard. It's fairly standard, but yeah, okay. Right, let's have a look. Ooh. Right. I'm going to be cuddling the camera now while I move my arms around it. There's an image for you. So what is actually in the book? Preparation for crystal magic. Cleansing and charging defined and demystified, as well as some methods. So this is the first thing that I thought was really pretty good. I'm gonna hang on. We should use our quartz to hold the page down. That's appropriate, right? So the first thing I'm going to actually talk about first, before we go into the contents a little bit more, is I really, really liked that the book assumed a certain level of knowledge. It sort of says right at the beginning, it suggests, you know, that this is a book for people who kind of know what these things mean. But we're going to go through them a little bit and give some different methodologies and things like that. So it doesn't baby anybody, which I really enjoyed. And it also talks about a whole host of different ways to cleanse and charge crystals. Methods of charging and dedicating. Jewellery, amulets and talismans. Crystal spells for the home and garden. Crystal elixirs and essences. Salt and glass spells. This is fantastic. You won't see that in many crystal-based books, but the author takes the opinion that stones and sand are just as important as crystals within the realm of the earth magic that this book covers. The unexpected power of rocks. Special quartz points. So this is really good if the terminology sometimes confuses you. It talks, you know, about double terminated, record keeper, self-healed crystal, and all the differences. So that's really nice. Rituals and affirmations, so some actual sort of dedications and meditations and spell work and things of that nature. Numerology, stones by number. This is interesting. It sort of ties together the natural geometry elements of magical workings through numerology to certain crystals. Then there's some simple spells and some crystal grid spells for advanced crystal magic, as well as then some associations down the bottom. Right, oh, come to me book. Let's have a look. What can we actually have a talk about? Okay. I don't think this is a book I can actually show you a whole lot of different things in, because A, it's going to ruin the book slightly, and B, there's no pictures, which may or may not put certain people off. I don't know. It doesn't put me off whatsoever, but okay. So here's an example of how to create something utilising crystals. This is a home blessing elixir. It tells you how to do it all. It gives you a suggested chant. I think at one point in the book it does suggest that you can completely ignore the chants and make your own, which is fabulous, because a lot of the time books like, you must do it my way, and if you don't do it my way, it won't work. And at which point, anybody who tells me that I've got to do it their way gets my immediate irritation. So there you go. There's different types of elixirs, which is nice. And then it talks about which things are drinkable in their opinion and things like that. Glass and sand spells, which is really, really great. Apologies for the noise. There are people interfering with the taps downstairs. It talks about why sand is magical and some magical uses of sand. How to cleanse and charge sand, which is really nice. And then some different spells, protection bottle, and then talking about glass, sea glass, sun catchers. Oh, there you go, there is a picture. Unexpected Magic of Rocks. Oh, this is talking about stone circles, which is really appropriate right now. Stone healing circles. Many cultures have used circles of stone and other types of layout for various spiritual purpose. And talking about how you can sort of integrate this on a personal level. I've got some granite actually, some pink granite, because Sharon sent me some, so I might have a go with that with the healing over the weekend. Okay, and you've got some chants associated with the rock magic, geodes. So the spells are quite often worked in within the context of the particular chapters, which is also really nice, because a lot of the time people sort of give in spell books tend to just be like chapter, spell, 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 chapter, spell, 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 spell. And this book talks about the sort of spiritual nature, the personal belief of the author, and the energies and feelings and thoughts behind particular energies and particular subjects for each chapter, and then integrate some spell work within that. And there's never any pressure to follow their exact layout. It sort of gives you a feeling for why they felt it was important to include that energy, and then this is a suggestion on how you can integrate that into spell work. So this is the different types of quartz points, and it actually gives you pictures so you can identify them. So you got your window crystal, and you see how you've got all this diagram going on, which is nice. Like if it's something that the terminology sort of bothers you sometimes, that it's a little bit, you know, gets into your head and you can't, I don't know, how do you, confuses you pretty much like I'm doing right now, then this is really great for just reference, you know, easy to understand diagrams, so you know, trigger memory, that sort of thing. Okay, so rituals, meditations and affirmations. I'm not gonna, you know, over groom the book so you can see every detail, because it's really a book worth getting, but I think it's worth going through. This I love. How to tell if a stone is a personal power stone. So I've been calling certain crystals my spirit stone for a long time without being taught, and it was just something that really spoke to me, that a particular crystal was my spirit stone, the one that spoke to me on a spiritual level, that connected with who I was, and it actually shifted in recent times. And now if you follow any of my videos, then you know that my spirit stone is labradorite. And you know, oh, so beautiful. Just look. Okay, and I have many different types of labradorite, and they all connect with me instantaneously. They boost my energy, they make me feel better when I'm feeling down, they give me spiritual insight, they help me connect to the spirits, they help me to connect to the sort of the realm of the spiritual and the gods and goddesses and things of that nature. I work with labradorite for the Morrigan because she is a shapeshifter, and this is a shapeshifter crystal. I mean, you only have to start moving it around to realise that it's a shapeshifter crystal. But in this book, it sort of covers that. And I don't think I've seen that covered anywhere else other than me just saying how I feel about something. So then we have rituals for opening your third eye, smoky quartz spell for temperance, dream spells, talking about making your own prayer beads, which is nice, and giving thought processes to the crystals that you use and why you're doing it, and sort of programming the particular prayer bead for the particular purpose in which you are utilizing it, and within a ritual and within a spell work. So giving meaning to the individual crystal and the number of crystals on a prayer bead, which is the point of prayer beads, which is often overlooked. Crossroads spell, onyx for balance, totem stone dedication ritual, scrying spell. Right, and then we're moving into the numerology aspect, stones by numbers. And so it tells you here how to figure out your number. What's your number? My number is 9 for anybody who is interested. So these are all of the crystals. So number 9s, if you have a number 9, you're about to find out what your crystals are. Everyone else has to buy the book. Number 9 is ruby. Stones that vibrate to the number 9. Apatite, argonite, fuchsite, hematite, malachite, rhodonite, euconite, and vanadinite. So for anybody who knows me and knows that in recent times I've been buying a lot of crystals that end in ite. I've got a thing for crystals that end in ite, and this might explain why. 9 represents completeness, change, achievement, culmination, order, action, physical prowess, forgiveness, compassion, inspiration, spirituality, and divine love. Pythagoreans call this Ennead. It's the first square of an odd number, 3 by 3. 9 is the first number that can be used to construct a magic square. 9 was the number of man. 9 was the number of man by the Pythagoreans. Human gestation time is 9 months. But 9 falls short of the perfect number 10. It symbolizes horizon and boundary to the Pythagoreans. It gathered all numbers within itself. It was associated with the god Prometheus and the goddess Juno. Corresponding planet is Mars, and the sign is Aries. Grids using 9 can represent a wide variety of magical purpose. There is much magic surrounding the number 9. If you add up the numbers 1 to 9, it equals 45, and 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 cannot be destroyed no matter how many times you multiply or add it, and this is true for no other number. All products of 9 can be reduced to 9. So there you go. There is a tendency to favour Greek gods in this book. That doesn't bother me particularly, as I'm presuming that's the pantheon followed by the person in the book. It may irk people, some people. It doesn't bother me at all, because I have a strong foundation in where I'm coming from. And for me, the number 9 has a strong foundation in Celtic lore, 3 by 3 being, the power numbers of life, death and rebirth. So for me, I can relate it right back to my particular path. Then it talks about natal stones. So your Aries, Capricorn, Libras, Scorpios, and for Virgos, like me, you sexy beasts. I have no idea what the matter with me is today. Right, Mars agate, Amazonite, amethyst, azurite, carnelian, chrysocolla, which I can never say, citrine, creedite, fossil, garnet, hematite, jade, jasper, lapis lazuli, lodestone, opal, peridot, ruby, sapphire, sodalite, tiger's eye, vandinite, watermelon, tourmaline, and zircon. Mercury 5, grey, silver, dark green, white earth. So there you go, there's some correspondences for you within this book. Traditional birthstones, and if you're a September like me, then it is sapphire. Talking about using numbers in rituals and spell work, so sort of then tying it all together. You have something going forward here about job seeking, talking about the moon phases. Okay, and then advanced crystal magic through gridding. So then it talks about the different shapes of grids, and suggests some different grids for different purposes. There's a banishing grid, a prosperity grid with sort of the more square number, and you have Flower of Life spell, and so on and so forth. There you go. There are some pictures. I lied, there are some pictures. I didn't lie, I just completely and utterly spaced. And then Spiral, which is one of my absolute favourite shapes to utilise within crystal gridding, which I don't think I've ever seen within a book before. I could be wrong, but I've got a feeling that a lot of your typical crystal books stick to the very sort of more rigid crystal setups. Then it has some generalised meanings for some of the stones. There you go. Let's do Labradorite, seeing as it's mine. Protects and balances the aura, aids in understanding one's destiny, enhances patience, perseverance, inner knowledge, reduces anxiety and stress, discernment and direction, knowing right time, wisdom, triclinic moon, water element. So there you go. It has some of these. Then it has crystal systems. Correspondences for days of the week, stone, incense and oils, planetary associations of certain crystals, chakra stones for each chakra, elemental associations, and stones by purpose or use, such as giving, blue fluorite, chrysocolla, citrine, clear quartz, gold, green fluorite, herkimer diamond, and kyanite for cleansing and purification. So there you go. Oh, and a bit about shapes and colour magic at the end as well. Okay, so there you go. Downsides of this book aren't many. It's perhaps not. It's not an encyclopedia. It's not a complete guide to every spell you could ever want utilising crystal magic, but I don't think it needs to be. I think it gives a really solid, firm foundation of what crystal spells ought to be, and some knowledge which means that you can then apply what you've learned to your own personal practice and go forth and create your own spells from the basis of this knowledge. And it's not a basic book either. It's not giving you only the foundation. It sort of opens you up to thinking about how you interact with crystals, with how you incorporate crystals into your spell work, and it sort of covers spells as well as meditations and rituals, which is nice. It's not just spells in a little box sort of thing. Overall, I really enjoyed this. I read it in nearly a day. I'd actually hurt my neck, so I was not going anywhere, but it kept me entertained for that day, and it was just interesting. And there were a few that I was looking at thinking, I've never tried that with that stone before, maybe I will give that a go, and that's interesting. And how it kind of reflects me a little bit, because I tend to add everything up, and when I do spell work, everything should intertwine in a energy matrix. As far as this is so Virgo of me, but there you go. Everything kind of adds up and intertwines and sort of talks to one another, and the energies twist to make an incredible labyrinth of energy matrix that then goes into the spell work. And this book actually sort of reflects that a little bit, which is fantastic, because not an awful lot of books do, and really sort of go into that depth of why things should sort of mesh in a spell work to create a full overarching theme. So I highly, highly recommend this book. I really enjoyed it, and if you can get it for the £6 price tag, that's pretty good, and well worth that. I probably would say it was probably worth full price. It's just things are a bit too tight for that for me right now. So that's it for this book review of the Crystal Spells. Many blessings.